Hey guys, just wanted to make sure you knew that Fully Loaded at Sea is coming back. We haven't set sail in a couple years, and I cannot wait to get back out on the open waters with you. It's going to be epic. Whitney Cummings, Miss Pat, Big J, Felipe Esparza, Joe DeRosa, Rosebud Baker, Catherine Blanford, Ian Fidance, Shane Torres, Dave Williamson, Cypher Sounds, The Docksiders, DJ Airwolf, and so many more. Karaoke hosted by me, LeeAnn. There's going to be a 5K beer run, live podcasts, comedy shows every night, theme parties, Speedo and splash contests, and so many more activities. Miami to Cozumel, November 19th to 23rd, 2026. You can go to BertKreischerCruise.com for tickets. BertKreischerCruise.com. Come join us and set sail. I am so sorry you're going through this. It does stink. It stinks. But, out of the ashes comes a phoenix. You can take that perspective if you like, because I think that's the most powerful perspective, is to just become a phoenix and build what you want your reality to be to the best of your ability starting today. Another Q&A for you. And I really appreciate you guys calling in with questions and asking questions on the YouTube comments. You can ask questions on my Facebook. I love answering questions. Like I say at the end of this podcast, I'm humbly hope that I'm helpful. Oh, look at that alliteration. I humbly hope that I'm helpful. So I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who's lived a little bit of a life. So I'm quite flattered anybody has a question ever. So thank you for calling in. I look forward to jumping into these.
First time mom here. I'm going to try this again. My phone dropped a call last time. Just trying to look for some advice. I have a 3-month-old, and my husband's family was raised very spiritual. My family, we went to church every Sunday. You didn't have a choice. His family was a lot more strict with it. They still carry that on day to day. My family's a little bit more lenient. I'm thinking, just with the forcedness of having to go every Sunday growing up, it just kind of put that kind of wedge in between me believing in the higher power. Also had a lot go on in my life where I'm like, what am I doing this for? Who am I talking to if nothing, really works out? What are you praying for, I guess? I know that sounds kind of silly, but I'm just kind of I'm just thinking about what we should do with her, do we kind of push the same thing? Because his family is definitely pushing, you should be in church, you should be there already, get her in there, get her to believe in something, which I believe that we all should believe in something, but at the same sense, we don't know. It's a huge question mark over our heads as well. So what did you guys do with your daughters? Just kind of curious about that. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is a little bit of a loaded subject, I think. We did not go to church. Bert is Catholic. I was raised a couple different ways, Southern Baptist, and my mom went to this place called the Center in Atlanta, which was a meditation center that was based on the teachings of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. So I learned to meditate at a really young age. And I also read the Bible and went to church. My dad and my dad's family were not regular churchgoers. They were definitely believers, but they didn't go to church. I was not required to go to church growing up. I started going to church of my own volition in high school because the preacher's son was really cute. And then I was like, interesting. Well, all these people are believing and talking about this Bible. Let me read the Bible and let me figure out what I've heard in the periphery my whole life and what that really means to me. And so I spent, 3 or 4 years going to church and then kind of stopped and started exploring other types of religion and spirituality. And I don't find myself to be religious today. I find myself, to be agnostic, which is I don't really follow a religion, but I believe in bits and pieces of all religions I've been exposed to. Obviously, I haven't been exposed to everything, but there are pieces of Judaism I go, I'm going to adopt that. And there's pieces from my childhood and the Baptist church that I think are amazing and parts of the Catholic church that are amazing. And that's been my kind of path through spirituality. What we did with our kids was kind of Nothing. We just sort of talked about our own spirituality. Bert's Catholic. He still, crosses and kisses his necklace that has a St. Jude medal on it. And we talked to them very openly about prayer and about believing in a higher power, but we never required them to go to church. So I'm not sure it makes me qualified to answer your question. Should you take your daughter to church? I would say, based on the recent episode I had with Tracy, the psychologist who talked about how to negotiate your life with your in-laws, I think it would be a very good idea to get on the same page with your husband. And the two of you decide, are we going, are we not going? And not listen to your parents or his parents, but listen to each other and say, well, what do we feel is best? Do we feel we should go every Sunday? Do we feel we should go every other Sunday? Do we feel we should go only at the big holiday hoopla? What do we want? And how do we want to teach our kids about God and spirituality and religion? Because spirituality and religion are not the same. You can be a very spiritual person without following a religion. I think that that's what I am. But you can also be a very spiritual person and follow a religion. I think religions are beautiful. And a lot of positive things come from going to church, like a sense of community, a sense of belonging, being with a group of people who maybe not entirely, but for the most part, share your values and your beliefs. I think sometimes religion can give you answers to questions you maybe don't have the answer to in your heart. What would Jesus do is one of my favorite sayings, because Jesus was someone who wanted good for all mankind and was kind and giving. And I ask myself that question all the time, to find more compassion and deeper meaning in things. So I really think that to answer your question, what should you do? I think you and your husband should decide what makes sense to you based on what you want your daughter to grow up in. Church can mean different things to different people as well. Church can mean community more than religion. I think they're tied together, obviously, in a church. But hey, I had a preacher once that said, whatever gets you in the door. If it's the singing on Wednesday night, okay. If it's the, dinner on the grounds on Sunday, okay. If it's the fellowship, if it's watching someone get saved at the end of every service, whatever gets you in the group, it doesn't have to be the same thing that would get you in the group or that would get your in-laws in the group. I think if you and your husband decide to go to church, you should also discuss your why. What is your why? Why are you going? Is it for her to be inundated with religion? Is it for her to learn just basic ideas and thoughts about the Bible? Is it for her to be surrounded with people who have healthy value systems, which what one would hope would happen in a church community? So yeah, I would decide with your husband, be a united front, and figure out your why. And I think then if you sit down and have a really good talk about it, the path will show itself and it'll be easier to make that decision. I hope that was helpful.
Hi, guys. I love you guys and look up to you, but so I'm coming. My name is Becca, and I love my sister dearly. She gave me my niece and nephew. But her choice in her baby daddy makes, he was okay first, but now I want to beat the brakes off him, and I'm not going to, because he's part of our family for the next 18 years. So do you have any, tips and tricks to not beat the crap out of him and to keep it civil so that my niece and nephew don't realize, or they can pay no mind to the drama behind the scenes and they can be kids? How do I keep that up? Thank you guys for being such role models. Bless you. I look forward to watching the show. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you too, and bless you too. Oh boy. It's rare. I think it's really special when an in-law enters a group and it's flawless. I think what you're probably talking about is something that so many people deal with. I know when I entered my group of in-laws, it definitely wasn't flawless. And when Bert entered my life, my dad had to scratch his head and figure a lot of stuff out and let things go and realize that maybe my life moving forward with Bert is not going to be what he thought it would be. Maybe it'll be better, but maybe it would be more complicated. So anytime someone new enters a family, there's always going to be some adjustment. If you can allow for that adjustment, I think it just makes the adjustment a little easier for you. If you don't see eye to eye with someone and your intention is to keep a happy family for your niece and nephew, I think you have to remain honest with yourself, find compassion for your sister, be a support for your sister. Remember, he's not just here for 18 years. He's here for their whole life. This is a life that you're going to share with this person in some capacity. At your niece and nephew's wedding, when your niece or nephew has a baby, you're still going to see this person. So this is a lifelong commitment to accepting someone you maybe don't see eye to eye with, who may have a different set of values than you do. So I think keeping straight with your sister is probably the best thing you can do. Having divorced parents and having one parent talk terribly about the other, while the other parent never spoke badly in reverse, my advice would be to never speak badly about their dad in their earshot. Don't ever do it. You may say whatever you need to privately with your sister. And I would say what would have been helpful for me if I had had an aunt who was watching the dynamic between my parents, I think it would have been helpful to have my feelings validated when I was confused about the parent that maybe wasn't behaving in the most mature, most responsible, most loving way. I think if I'd had someone from the outside say to me, I see what you see, and I'm here for you, really. But not to make that dad a bad person. I think when you speak to children about a parent being bad, it's very confusing to the child. You have to let the child see that parent for themselves, and they'll come to their own conclusion, usually. Kids are really perceptive and really smart, but they also are very influenced by the important adults in their life. So your responsibility, I think, is to make them feel safe with you, make them feel like they can lean on you and rely on you, make them feel like you are a teammate with their mom. Show them what sibling relationships, when they're healthy, can be. Talk to a friend or someone outside of your family about your frustrations with this in-law, because sometimes it's a little too much for the inside the family. I think sometimes you need to go out and blow off steam and get it off your chest so that you can shore yourself up and go back in to the family and be there for your niece and nephew. If that's really your intention, I would say that's what you should do is just remain a kind of a neutral and very safe, positive, supportive place for your niece and nephew and for your sister. And, sometimes it's hard. I believe this now based on the last question about religion. I believe that we enter life with some kind of soul contract. We have a contract with each important person in our life, our mom, our dad, our siblings, our grandparents, our spouses. And so for whatever reason, your sister has this soul contract with this, the father of her kids. And so as a support system in her life, you have to help her figure out what her goal is and her path is with that person. And it may not make sense to you because you may not have a contract with that guy in your soul, but she does. And to be a support system for her will show your niece and nephew what unconditional love is. And all kids deserve to know what unconditional love is. Again, if there's danger, if there's physical, true emotional danger from this guy, I don't know how you would just remain neutral and safe for the kids and speak very frankly to your sister if anything becomes, a real red flag. If you speak too much, too often about too many small things, people don't listen. So speak about those small things outside your family. Find a safe place to complain about this guy, that he has a mullet, that he drinks too much Coors, whatever it is that's your issue. But if there's something that's really a red flag, you should take it to your sister. Don't take it to another sibling before you take it to your sister. I think you have to show your sister that you trust her to take care of her niece, her kids. So just be a safe place for all of them and find an outlet to get some shit off your chest. Save the important conversations with these people for when they're really important. Because sometimes when we sweat the small stuff, it makes everything contentious and uncomfortable. So if you can figure out a way to not sweat the small stuff when your niece and nephew are around, that may be the best path. The countdown is on. Holiday shopping season is officially here. Uncommon Goods takes the stress out of gifting with thousands of unique, high-quality finds you won't see anywhere else. Don't wait. The most meaningful gifts get scooped up fast, and now's the perfect time to cross names off your list. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. Many are crafted by independent artists and small businesses, making every gift feel meaningful and truly one of a kind. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, from moms and dads to kids and teens, from book lovers, history buffs, and diehard football fans to foodies, mixologists, and avid gardeners. You'll find thousands of new gift ideas that you won't find anywhere else. When you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. Many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3.1 million to date. Uncommon Goods has been at the top of my Christmas shopping list for years. I have bought stocking stuffers for the girls since they were really young, and invariably I end up buying 4 or 5 Christmas gifts every year from them. I just got their catalog in the mail yesterday and perused it last night. Lots of great things in there for this holiday. So don't wait. Cross those names off your list before the rush. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/LeeAnn. That's LeeAnn. That's uncommongoods.com/LeeAnn for 15% off. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. Brunt thought that was BS. So they built tough boots that feel great from day one. No break-in, no sore feet. Because people out there doing the real work shouldn't have to choose between comfort and durability. Founder Eric Gerard grew up blue collar and started Brunt Workwear after his friends in the trades kept telling him the big brands had stopped listening and hadn't changed in 100 years. They had sold out to become fashion brands. His buddies encouraged him to start a brand built for them, and that's why all Brunt products are named after the guys he grew up with, real hard-working tradesmen. But they're not just comfortable, they're built to perform. So if you've been looking for the perfect gift for a hardworking man in your life, or maybe even yourself, get him something from Brunt. Their boots and apparel are something he'll actually use and keep him comfortable all day on the job. Plus, Brunt stands behind what they make. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. It's a no-risk gift. I have a pair of Brunt boots, and they are not only comfortable, they are very cute. I mean, I love them. So to me, they're a little bit fashionable because I don't work in a blue-collar job, but I wear them all the time just because they're comfortable and they're super cute. With temps dropping and the holidays coming up, it's time to treat yourself or the hardworking man in your life to real comfort. Skip the throwaway gifts and get him something built to last. Brunt Workwear. Our listeners get $10 off their entire order with code WIFE at checkout. That's bruntworkwear.com and use code WIFE. Order today and let them know you heard it here on the show.
Hey, LeeAnn. My name is Bailey. I am a new mom of a 16-month-old. My husband is a football coach for a small town team in the south of West Tennessee. And if you're from a small town, then you know how big how small town football is.
Yep.
So he is the offensive coordinator. And so his job is pretty, busy during this time of the season. So pretty much for the whole next 3 months, August through November, I'm pretty much a single parent. As we know that your husband has such a very busy job and travels and everything, when the girls were small, what did you do to kind of help you through certain seasons that Bert was traveling or more busy with work? Because I catch myself sometimes being negative or hard towards him, even though I knew what I signed up for. What are just some things that can what's your advice, I guess, and things that could kind of help me through this season? Of course, I know seasons come to an end and there are times that he'll have to give more that I can't, but I just need a little clarity. Thanks for everything you do. I really enjoy your podcast. I find you very intelligent and enjoyable to listen to. Thanks.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate that, Bailey. And I, being from a small town in rural Georgia, know exactly what football season's like. It is all encompassing. So he may as well be on the road. It's exactly like Bert. I completely get it. I have a lot of advice where this is concerned. You said it yourself. You knew what you signed up for. That should help you. That should give you a little bit of a salve when you're starting to feel ugly about it, right? It's a temporary. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's in November, it's going to start wrapping up and things will start balancing again. We as human beings can do almost anything temporarily, especially if we see an end. And if this season comes every year, I think planning was my best friend. So I was a very structured parent, but loose within my structure. In that, I had bedtime and snack time and nap time and bath time and all that stuff, and I had it kind of set, but I also was a little loose in it, so that I knew that I could hit my mark. But if I didn't, it's okay. I was doing this by myself with 2 small children. So I gave myself a break in those times when Bert was really crazy. And sometimes we just didn't get a bath. Sometimes maybe we get a good wipe down and we get in the bed, and at the end of the day, does anybody really care? So I think I started to kind of figure out where I could be flexible during those times when Bert was really gone. Another thing I was really good at doing was getting out of the house. Now, I know in Tennessee, in that time of the year, it's not always warm, but, kids are so easily entertained and stimulated by just a different environment. So even if you go to the mall and walk laps in the mall and put them in a stroller and walk around, I would go to a local park. I would bring 2 scooters. I would sit in a lawn chair, and this park had a fence so my kids couldn't get out, and I would just go, goodbye. Have fun. You stay in the gate and let's run your booty off. I don't know how old your kids are, if that's something you could possibly do, but I constantly kept plans like that in place so that I went to the beach every Sunday. I know that's not hard in Tennessee. I'm not familiar with West Tennessee, but maybe there's something you can do in your community that is similar. I don't know if you have a pumpkin patch you could visit in all of October, or if there's, some kind of turkey trot you could sign up for. If you could even though we had no money at that time when our kids were young, I found ways to get them outside and keep them stimulated outside of our apartment. We were living in an apartment at that time. And to me, it seems like a lot of work to do that, but actually the reverse is true. A lot of things in life, if you do the work to set up a system, once the system starts running, it kind of runs itself. You get in this perpetual motion thing where you're like, all right, 4:00, let's get in the car. We're going to go to the mall and take 2 laps in the mall. And at the end of it, you both get a cookie. That's super easy. And they love it. I also got really into chores with my kids that we could do together. And I tried to make them fun. Of course, at a certain age, that no longer worked. But at a certain age, they could entertain themselves a little differently. The thing about a husband and a wife, it's my opinion, that in those intense times, like football season in the South, you want to be the safe place for your husband, the soft place, the reliable place, the one that he can always come home to and relax. And as hard as that is, because you're running everything, it will make it better for you if you have that perspective. So I was just talking to Isla about this yesterday. Your life is made up so much of perspective. So we were talking about her taking her DMV test. She failed her DMV test and she's really nervous to take it again. And I'm like, we can do this one or two ways. You can dredge your way through that handbook for the DMV and suffer through reading every page and get exhausted and get distracted. And I hate it and procrastinate and take the test 2 weeks later. Or you can decide, I'm going to do this like a boot camp. I'm going to read the book in one day. I'm going to read for 20 minutes, take a 10-minute break, 20 minutes, 10-minute break, 20 minutes, 10-minute break, and then I'm going to take the test. I'm going to go straight to the DMV and take the test on the same day. I'm going to block the day out. I'm going to make it a boot camp, and I'm going to get this done. At the end of the day, she's taking the test. So she can either do it in a boot camp fun. And I was like, we'll order special snacks. And like at every break, you get a certain snack that you're excited about, which seems stupid because she's 19 years old. But I saw her go, okay, all right, we can do this. Again, she had a goal to take the DMV, test at the DMV. She can drag her ass through pain to get there, or she can figure out a way how to rephrase it in her brain and make it fun. The end result's the same. She's got to take the test. You're going to go through football season whether you like it or not. So you can make it about, well, I'm doing so much and he's doing nothing. Or you can make it about, look what we're doing as a family so that dad gets to do this dream of his. That's a very different perspective for the same experience. You're home alone with these two kids. Reframing it would, I think, help you a bit. And then maybe it is a time when you visit grandparents more often, visit a sibling that has kids also more often than you used to. When my husband was traveling a lot, I had another friend whose husband also traveled, and we took turns making dinner, and we made it really fun. We just kept throwing the kids together and throwing them in the bathtub together and throwing them in the pool together when our husbands were traveling. And it just made it, I found another teammate. Your significant other can't be your teammate for everything. And there's going to be phases in life where you have to reach out to a larger circle because raising kids by yourself is really hard. And I had several people I could reach to and say, hey, want to come over on Wednesday and bring a bottle of wine and we'll play with the kids together. And I had friends that would do that. So I think you need to get resourceful. Look outside to your community. If you go to church, look to your church. Are there activities you could take your kids to at church? Look to your in-laws and to your siblings. What can we do there? Make it fun. Find a pumpkin patch. Go to a corn maze. There's got to be tons of things you could do. Walk around the mall and get a cookie. I mean, this week you get a cookie. Next week you get an ice cream. The week after that you get a bag of candy. Whatever it is. Kids will love it. Just keep some variety. Be the safe, soft place for your husband. Know that you're in it together as a team, and really just become resourceful about taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, the only person who truly can take care of you is you. So that little perspective shift might help you too, in you taking care of you, to just say, we're all in this together. I just got to make it to November. I'm going to make it as fun for me as possible. I don't know. I hope that's helpful. That's kind of what I did. So I surrounded myself with good support system. I made a plan. I planned stuff throughout the week to do with my kids. And I loosened up my rules a little bit with my kids. I loosened up the rules for myself with my kids. I gave myself a break. If we ate chicken nuggets 2 nights in a row, my kids didn't care. But I did. I'd get really stressed about, I can't feed my kids chicken nuggets to, yeah, you can. You can. You're at war from August until November in rural South high school football. It's like, it's all encompassing. So for that time period, give yourself a break. Don't worry about it. So they watch a movie every night of the week. Okay, just do what you got to do to be happy, to be a happy parent and a happy wife. And the rest of it will kind of take care of itself, I think. I hope that was helpful, Bailey.
Hey, LeeAnn, a long-time listener. I've called in before and you guys have given me like the best advice. And I just love listening to your podcast. Haven't been able to watch the last few. So my question is, so I just hit 30 not that long ago, and like I have asked questions about like, what do you do when your friend cheats? Because you were besties through your 20s, and I've heard you say, oh, your 20s are about like making mistakes and figuring out who you are. And like, I've really taken that to heart since I've been listening to you so long in my 20s. And then I hit 30 and I was like, everything's kind of good. Like, I still have to check in on my grandfather and things like that. But I just hit 30 and I was in an apartment fire with my boyfriend and dog. So we lost pretty much everything. Had to be with my 80-year-old grandfather, which is kind of good because at least I'm there to watch after him for a few months. It's been a few months now. But we lost pretty much everything. And how do you recreate? Like, yeah, I don't know how to buy new clothes, how to do anything, because I spent all of my 20s. Like, I remember that T-shirt from that, like, best friend. I remember, like, oh, I bought this because it was a Hawaiian-themed party or whatever. And I feel like I don't know who I am. And excuse me, I just want to know how you would deal with this, like, recreating yourself. I'm supposed to, hopefully, 5 days away from when I leave you this message, have a new apartment. But we lost so much, and it was just worst experience ever. And I don't even live in like LA, so I was so stupid and didn't even have renters, because I was like, I live in Washington. When is there going to be a fire? I'm right next to the river, the Columbia River. I didn't think about it, and I lived in like kind of a cheap area anyway, and I was like, I'm not paying the $20 a month for renters. And now I know that I should, and I already put a deposit and have renter's insurance ready for the new place, but I don't know how to be myself anymore. So, how would you do this? I was so happy being 30 and being like, yes, time to fucking be the best person ever. Excuse my language. And now it's like, oh, I don't even know how to do that now. I don't know who I am, what towels to buy. I had those towels since I was like 18 when I first moved out. How do I pick out?
It got cut off.
Oh,
it timed out.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm really sorry that you lost everything. That's really devastating. Don't deny yourself the grief that comes with losing all of the items that meant so much to you, that were markers for your life and growing up. So don't deny yourself those feelings. And, I believe that things happen for a reason. You don't even have to know the reason, but this was meant to be for some reason. So then the way you rebuild something like this is just brick by brick. You just go one step at a time. I have a little experience with this. I moved from my dad's to my mom's. I had left some things at my mom's house and she just threw them out. I had a huge Barbie collection that I loved so much. And she said, well, you left them, so I didn't think you wanted them. She also destroyed all of my baby pictures from when I was a child. So I didn't have a lot of memories, because your memories sometimes live in your photographs. And it's very disorienting. It happened again when my mom kicked me out of New York and I had to leave everything behind. I had a few things that were mine, but not a lot. And it is very discombobulating. It's really, it is hard to wrap your head around the things that you lost in that process. But you did not lose who you are. You did not lose the lessons that you learned. You did not lose that piece of you that said, I'm feeling good about myself. Everything is good. You have to, again, honor the feelings of loss, but go back into that place of how you were feeling. And if you rely on those positive feelings of, I really made it, I'm really happy, I'm doing really well. I think if you rely on that part of yourself, you'll get back to that more quickly in a more stable and regular way. Sometimes we have to learn lessons the hard way. Not having renter's insurance is a lesson learned the hard way, unfortunately. So now you learned that lesson, which stunk. But I don't know. I think what happened for me in New York when I got kicked out of my apartment is I started asking the question, who am I today? And what towel do I buy for that person? Like you said, you'd had your towel since you were 18 years old, and those are special. And you would still have them, but that's no longer an option. So if that's no longer an option, you can choose to be empowered by this new chapter and the opportunity to write the chapter in a fresh new way. And some of it you may write the same way you were writing before. And some of it you might just go, you know what, I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to buy towels with flowers all over them because that's who I am right now. So as difficult as that is, not only financially, but emotionally and mentally, it is an opportunity to just change your perspective and reframe the event, and not to deny your feelings of loss again, but to figure out how to build this brick by brick. And when you do that, you'll be really proud of yourself. I know what I built out of the time that I was in New York without a lot made me so proud of who I am because I earned all of it. And even though I'm sure you earned all those things you lost in the fire for whatever reason the universe decided you needed to earn again, okay, well then give me that challenge. I'll take that challenge because you can't change that reality. That's where you are. So how you address the reality is what matters. And if you can address it with some strength and resilience. And my therapist told me this one time, and I thought this was really powerful. She told me this years and years, like maybe 25 years ago. I was really worried about failing in life, like just failing at how am I going to pay my rent? What if I don't get a shift at work? What if it's just disaster thinking? And she said to me, have you ever not paid your rent? And I said, no. She said, have you ever really failed yourself? Tell me when you've ever failed yourself in a real way, in like a I'm not moving forward at all way. I was like, I really haven't. And she goes, so then why are you afraid you will? Past behavior predicates future behavior, usually. So if you had gotten yourself to this place of 30 years old and feeling really great about yourself, you know how to do it already. So you just got to do it again. And yeah, sometimes it stinks to have to do something again, but that's the hand you were dealt at this moment. So you can play that hand the best of your ability and build it up again because you know how to do it. So I am so sorry you're going through this. It does stink. It stinks. But, out of the ashes comes a phoenix. You can take that perspective if you like, because I think that's the most powerful perspective, is to just become a phoenix and build what you want your reality to be to the best of your ability starting today. Life insurance is like a parachute. If you don't have it the first time you need it, there's no second chance. Jokes aside, life insurance is something you want to get right and right away because it's never cheaper today than it is tomorrow. I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. Think the cost of one of your streaming services? Thanks to SelectQuote. If you're new to life insurance, you're not alone. Thankfully, I've found SelectQuote. For over 40 years, SelectQuote has helped more than 2 million Americans understand their options and get the coverage they need. Over 700 billion in coverage and counting. As a broker, their mission is simple: to find you the right insurance policy at the best price. SelectQuote takes the guesswork out of finding the right life insurance policy. You don't have to sort through dozens of confusing options on your own. Instead, one of their licensed agents will find the right policy at the right price for you, comparing plans from trusted, top-rated insurance companies to find a policy that fits your health, your lifestyle, and your budget. And they work for you for free. You'll be covered faster than you think. SelectQuote works with providers who offer same-day coverage up to $2 million worth with no medical exam required. Life insurance is never cheaper than it is today. SelectQuote, they shop, you save. We got life insurance as soon as I got pregnant with Georgia, because as soon as you are in that adult moment in your life, life insurance is just a must-have. Life insurance is never cheaper than it is today. Get the right life insurance for you for less and save more than 50% at selectquote.com/wife. Save more than 50% on term life insurance at selectquote.com/wife today to get started. That's selectquote.com/wife.
Hi, LeeAnn. Hi, Bert. My name is Melissa. I have 4 kids, 2 from a previous marriage, 2 with my current husband. I've always thought that we've been a happy family. Of course, we've had our ups and downs. More recently, my oldest son got married about 5 years ago during the pandemic, had a baby the year before that. And as of this last December, December 28th was the last time that I saw my son, his daughter, and my granddaughters. He told me that I have done a lot of things that I guess that have upset him and his wife, and that I've been disrespectful. I've asked to talk to them as a couple because I have felt a major disrespect from his wife since she got pregnant with my first granddaughter. People have told him that I don't like his wife, which is wrong. I don't like the way she treats me, and she won't talk to me about it. For example, at my granddaughter's birthday party, she completely ignores me. Every birthday party, she completely ignores me. And then a family friend who my son considers a second mom comes in, and she runs up to that woman and says, "Hi, Mom," like she's my son's mother. I love my son with all my heart. He's my firstborn. He showed me what true love is all about. And now I haven't seen him in 9 months.
Aww.
And anytime I text, he completely ignores my text. The text that he sent me sounded like something that his wife would have sent, but I don't know what to do anymore. I have given it to God, and I am just wondering what you might do in this situation. I love your show, LeeAnn. Bert, you are the funniest dude ever, period. I love your stories. I love hearing about your daughters, and you guys are just great. So if you could just give me some advice.
Well, I'm sorry Bert wasn't here to hear all your well wishes. That's very sweet. Wow, this is a tough one, I think. First of all, I just had a book club called You, Your Husband, and His Mother with the author of that book. So you may want to check that book out. There's a lot of great things in that book. Not just about the in-law relationship, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, but also just about relationships in general and how to navigate conflict in a relationship. I found that book really enlightening and very helpful. It's called You, Your Husband, and His Mother. You can find it on my link tree, which is on my Instagram, in my profile, there's a link tree. And if you go in the link tree, you can find that book there. I would read that book. It's difficult when someone becomes incommunicado, when they were no longer communicate with you. There's nothing really you can do. I mean, what can you do if it is a true one-way street hitting a brick wall? So I would have to say, I think I would try to find a way to have a truce and to have a sit-down conversation with maybe a third party, with a pastor, with maybe with a friend that can remain neutral, because it seems a little bit like both sides, both your side and their side, are not. I don't know. You're not communicating in a kind of a meaningful way, for lack of a better word. It's however you're communicating with each other is not working. So maybe you need a little outside help. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be a really, really trusted friend, or, like I said, a pastor, or someone like that. But yeah, that's a very tough place to be. I would be very upset if I couldn't see my grandkids. And I mean, I guess the question, if it were me, I think I would ask the question of my son, what is your goal in this? Do you not want me to be in your kids' lives? Because I would like to be in your kids' lives, but we have to work something out so that we're all happy. I mean, you have to look for a win-win. And, a win-win is an interesting thing. A win-win means that each party doesn't get everything, but you're willing to give enough that you can both agree on this middle ground, right? Because for you to win entirely, something's not working in their family. So then they would be losing. But for them to win entirely, which is kind of what seems to be happening now, you're entirely losing. So this is not a win-win. A win-win may be, I'm just totally making this up. Let's just say you show up on Saturday mornings unannounced. I'm completely making this up because you didn't say anything like this. But let's just say you show up Saturday mornings unannounced, and that doesn't work for your daughter-in-law. And maybe she said to you, hey, just give me a heads up before, and you keep forgetting. And it's innocent. Maybe you just innocently keep forgetting and keep showing up. And then she's at a point where she goes, well, she's completely disrespecting me. And now you're blocked out. Well, you've lost now. You were winning before because you were maybe even unknowingly running over her boundary. But without a communication, you can't get anything straightened out. It seems to me like there may be assumptions happening. Hearsay is a terrible, poisonous thing. Anytime you hear someone say something that someone else, so-and-so told me that she said blah, 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 it's not a fact. It's only a fact when that person says that to you or you witness it with your eyes. The rest of it's just hearsay. So if either of you are functioning on what a third party is telling you, then you're not functioning in the truth. You need to be functioning on what you say to each other. And if you can't talk to each other, then this is immovable. So I would say you have to figure out a way to message to your son and daughter-in-law. Perhaps, okay, here's something I would do. I'm figuring this out on the fly. If I had a son and my daughter-in-law were not talking to me, I would not just talk to my son. Because when people get married, they are moving away from their family of origin and into the family they are creating, their family of creation. And their priority is their family of creation. He has children with this woman, with his wife. This is who he's decided to spend his life with. He didn't get to decide to have you as a parent, and you didn't really get to decide to have this particular person as a son. You decided maybe to have kids, but he is choosing this woman to spend his life with. That is something that has to be respected and honored. And so if I were having trouble with my daughter-in-law, I would absolutely include her in all my communications with my son in a conflict. Obviously, if there's no conflict, it doesn't matter. But if they're in a conflict protective place, it would make sense to me to reach out to both of them in the same text message. What eliminates hearsay faster than anything is communication, clear, direct lines of communication. So if I'm having a conflict with Georgia, and if Georgia and Isla are having a conflict with each other, and I'm trying to straighten it out with both of them, I text both of them. I don't text Georgia and have a side conversation with her about her conflict with Isla, and then do the same for Isla. We actually had a big conflict when we were on a family vacation, and they separated, and I was forced to talk to them individually. And then when I brought them together, I said to each of them, I am going to now recount for the two of you what I said to each of you individually, so that you can know what I said to your sister when you were not there. And I would like each of you to confirm that this is what I said, so that you know that there's no covert ops going on, that I'm not talking shit about this one to that one, because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in conflict resolution, and I'm interested in peaceful and joyful forward motion as a family. So I did exactly that. I said to Isla, I was with Georgia, and this is what we talked about. Georgia, do you agree? Did I leave anything out? She confirmed it, and I did the same thing. Georgia, when I was with Isla, this is what we talked about. Did I leave anything out? Do you agree? And then now it kind of did something really magical. And it took a lot of assumption, suspicion, out of the situation. It just like took air out of the situation. So I wonder if you're texting your son, whether it's true or not, is perceived by the daughter-in-law as trying to separate him somehow. Maybe. So maybe try direct conversation with both of them in writing together, so that they're on the same page as to what you're saying. And then I would say, hey, my goal is for us to be a happy family. So if we've started off on the wrong foot, how can I make this right? Can we have a conversation together and really talk through what we're all upset about? Because you can't deny that you're upset, nor should you. But you also can't deny that they're upset, and nor should you. So I think that may be what I would do, is try and reach out to both of them and just figure out what the real disconnect is. And I bet you it's something that started simple and grew into something much larger. And if you the problem with people is that people think that you can read their mind. And you often think that people can read your mind, and it's not true. No one thinks about you as much as you do. So that's true for the reverse too. No one's thinking, your daughter-in-law, no one's thinking about her as much as she is. So there's an inherent disconnect, I think, in communication with thinking this person should just know how I feel, or just know I'm a good person, or just know my perspective. No, they shouldn't. You should communicate that. You should communicate what you need and be open to hearing where you may have made a mistake. You know, I've said this a million times in this podcast. It came from Whitney Cummings. I give her props every time. Intention and impact are two entirely different things. You may have intended something that you said to be nice, and it may have impacted her in a different way. And it doesn't make you a bad person because your impact was negative. But to not address it, for her not to say, hey, that hit me wrong, and for you not to maybe read something's off here and ask about it sooner, maybe where you're both at error. Because what's your why? What's your goal? If your goal is to be in your grandkids and your son's life, then that makes the path more clear. So maybe you can ask her, what's her goal where you're concerned? And maybe read that book, You, Your Husband, and His Mother. It may give you a lot of perspective on her perspective, and also on relationships in general. I thought it was a very well-written, very good book, and easy to read. I read it very quickly. So yeah, go to my Linktree, and there's a link right in there to it. You can find it easily. I hope that's helpful. It really stinks. I hope you can figure it out with this family, because Who doesn't want to be a part of their grandkids' lives? I would be so upset. So I hear you. Good luck.
Okay, this is a question that was, I think, a comment on YouTube that got sent in. Good morning, LeeAnn. I met you on the first Fully Loaded at Sea. I'm the guy with the Bert tattoo on my forearm. I don't know if you remember me. My question is, I hear rumors of a Fully Loaded at Sea. Do you have any dates or times or announcements, or should I just keep watching the podcast? Thank you.
Wow. That's excellent marketing, Christine Pierce. Thank you. Well, you've probably heard by now that we are doing a Fully Loaded at Sea again. It will be November 19th through the 23rd, 2026. It is on sale now. You can go to berberbert.com and there's a link there. You can go to fullyloadedfestival.com. There's a link there. The guys putting on the cruise is a company called Sixth Man, Xixth, Sixth Man. If you want information from that route, it's all over Bert's social media. It was so fun. I wish I could say I remember you, but I don't. There are like 2,200 people on the boat, and I think I met every single one of them. It was so much fun. Whitney Cummings is coming this time. I know she got pregnant last time and wasn't allowed to sail with us. So we got a do-over from her. Miss Pat is back. She was so much fun. Felipe Esparza's back. Big J. Okerson's coming back. The Docksiders are coming back. Cypher Sounds is coming back. Catherine Blanford, Shane Torres, Ian Fidance, Joe DeRosa. Hope I'm not missing anybody. The Docksiders already said. DJ Airwolf is coming. We are still adding more talent as we get closer to time. It's going to be so much fun. We're still gambling. We're still running the Two Bears 5K. There's a teeny weeny peeny contest and a booty shaking contest and let's see what else. Just tons of stuff to do. We're going to Cozumel, from Miami to Cozumel. Should be really fun. I would love for you to come back and show me that tattoo so I can remember who you are. So sorry. But yeah, it was a lot of people and it was so much fun. I'm so glad you asked about it. I'm glad you're excited about it. So come sail with us again. It'll be really fun.
Okay, we have one or two more if you're up for them.
I'm good.
One is a comment that someone had and they said, I just started therapy and I'm a little nervous. Any advice for handling that?
Handling being nervous in therapy. Nervous is good because nervous is good. And you should and you shouldn't be nervous. Being nervous is good because you know that change is coming and change is an unknown. And unknowns are kind of scary. So that's good. And you have to know that if you really do therapy the way that I think you should do therapy, things are going to change in your life for the better. And that may mean that some people are going to fall away from your life who are present now. People who mean a lot now may not mean the same thing. They may mean even more, and they may mean less. You may stop things that you've been doing that are a way that you relate to certain people in your life. Be patient with yourself. Don't deny how you feel. Really lean into your feelings and ask, why am I feeling nervous? Answer that question for yourself. What are you nervous about? Are you scared to be exposed to someone? Are you scared? This is what I was afraid of. I was afraid once I started digging into my past, I wouldn't be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube, and that all this emotion that I was sitting on was just going to overwhelm me and take over my whole life, and I would become a non-functioning, non-verbal, drooling, fetal position person permanently. I really thought that all the suitcases I had to unpack would completely paralyze me in life. And that wasn't true, but it was a very valid fear because your feelings can be really large and scary, and especially sometimes if they're unexamined. So unexamined feelings are really scary. It's almost like the scary thing in the closet. And as soon as you turn the light on in the closet, you go, oh, that's not that bad. It was just a stuffed animal that was on a shelf that was casting a shadow. Okay, I can figure that one out. But until you turn the light on in that closet, you're just going to remain scared of this unknown. It's therapy can be one of the most intimate, personal empowering things that you can do for yourself. It requires an intimacy with oneself before you can even be intimate with your therapist. And so it's a beautiful relationship that you allow yourself to have with yourself when you go into therapy. And yeah, I was nervous too when I started therapy. I thought that it would end all my current relationships, that I would no longer love my dad, my mom, my cousins, my aunt. It was just going to break everything apart. And some things it did break apart, but most of them were not permanent breaks. Most of them were breaks for a moment for me to kind of put pieces back together in a healthier, stronger way. You know, I think it's Japan. It's a culture where when they break a vase, they mend it with gold, and it just makes the break beautiful and stronger. So sometimes when you go to therapy, you start either identifying the breaks or causing some breaks. But those breaks and the depths with which you explore them is the depth that you can fill with joy and happiness and gratitude and grace and pleasure and fun and play. But until you really examine those deep crevices, you can't really fill it with much because they're full already with pain and fear and hurt and frustration and damage and bleh. So good for you for going to therapy, and good for you for identifying you're nervous, and good for you for asking the question, I'm feeling nervous, and what advice can you give me? Lean into the nervous. Get comfortable with uncomfortable. Because if you're comfortable with uncomfortable, the uncomfortable is where growth happens. Comfortable, nothing's happening. You're just comfortable. So the nervous is a good indicator. I know for me, I started looking and seeking the uncomfortable in the journey of therapy. What do I not want to talk about? Okay, then that's what I'm talking about. When I was first in therapy, I had about a half-hour drive to get to my therapist. I went to a center that charged the therapy fee based on a sliding scale, based on how much I made. So there was one, it was called the Wright Institute. It's still in Los Angeles. And I think I paid $25 a session. So of course it was worth the half-hour drive to get the help that I needed for $25, which I could barely afford at the time. And I spent that time in the car really thinking about what I didn't want to talk about. So that when I showed up, I went, here's what I don't want to talk about. And then I would start talking about what I didn't want to talk about. That nervousness is a great helper. It's your best friend in therapy. Lean into it, get comfortable with it, enjoy it. Consider it a challenge. Consider it the path rising to meet you. Oh, that's where I need to go now. Nervous is very fun if you get used to it. You just have to kind of strengthen that muscle. Congratulations. I'm really happy that you've decided to go down a path of growth, because therapy is just growth. It's just you saying, hey, I want to get better at this. Same as getting a personal trainer, same as hiring a coach for your tennis game, same as getting a business coach when you're trying to build a business, same as seeking out help from your pastor when you have trouble. It's all the same. So good for you. I'm happy for you. Enjoy the nervous.
My name is Crystal, and I got to see Bert in Idaho Falls. It was awesome to see him generate 3 or 4 jokes live. And we're sorry we almost gave him a heart attack. Anyway, congratulations on your 400th episode. I hope you keep going for 400 more. Bye.
Aw, well, that was nice. Thank you. 400 more. Wow, that would be like 8 more years. Holy cow. I don't know if I have 8 more years worth of stuff to say, but I've enjoyed this 8 years. It's been really fun. I love my podcast. I don't know. I just love it. I love that I feel like I'm talking about things maybe not everybody's talking about. And I don't know. I appreciate everybody who called in and asked questions. I humbly hope that I am helpful. Definitely, I'm not a therapist. I'm just somebody who's lived a little bit of a life and maybe a little farther ahead in the game than the 30-something set. So I appreciate the trust and the curiosity and I am humbled. So thank you for calling in. And what's the phone number to call in again?
It is.
I don't
hold on. 818 949
949
8536.
8536. So
And
if anybody
it's
has,
always in the YouTube description.
it's also in the YouTube description. If anybody wants to call in, I would love to field some questions. So thanks for coming every week. And thanks for, thanks for coming every week. Until I see you next time. Bye. It's so weird to do this by myself. I think I much prefer it with Bert.
You did a great job.
Oh, thanks.